When billionaire Ethan Reed saw his ex-wife pregnant working as a waitress, he never expected this truth. Sophia Bennett never imagined life would bring her here. 6 years earlier, she had been married to Ethan Reed, a man whose dreams seemed larger than life itself. Back then, they had very little money, but they had something far more valuable: hope. Together, they lived in a small apartment in Austin, Texas. Ethan spent long hours building his technology company from the ground up, while Sophia worked as a school librarian. She encouraged him during every setback, celebrated every tiny victory, and stood beside him when investors laughed at his ideas. But success has a strange way of changing people. As Ethan's company became worth millions, the distance between husband and wife quietly grew. Business conferences replaced weekend vacations. Phone calls became shorter, arguments became more frequent. Sophia often ate dinner alone. She missed the man who used to laugh with her until midnight, the man who promised that no amount of money would ever come between them. Unfortunately, promises are easier to make than to keep. After months of endless arguments and emotional exhaustion, their marriage finally collapsed. Neither of them cheated. Neither truly hated the other. They simply became strangers living under the same roof. Their divorce was painful. Sophia moved away without looking back. She relocated to San Diego and started over, determined to rebuild her life piece by piece. For years, neither of them contacted the other. Life continued, and then fate decided to bring them together again. On a bright Saturday afternoon, sunlight poured through the giant windows of the luxurious Ocean Crest Resort. Tourists laughed. Families enjoyed lunch. Soft music played in the background. Wearing a simple light blue waitress uniform, Sophia moved carefully between tables, carrying trays of food. 7 months pregnant, every step felt heavier than the last. Her back hurt, her feet ached, but she never complained. Life had already taught her that complaining changed nothing. The father of her unborn child had abandoned her shortly after learning about the pregnancy. His promises disappeared overnight, leaving Sophia to face motherhood alone. She had cried. She had been angry, but eventually she chose something stronger. She chose to keep moving forward. Working double shifts wasn't easy, but she wanted her baby to have a better future. As she cleaned a nearby table, she suddenly felt a kick inside her stomach. A gentle smile appeared on her face. "Easy there, little sunshine," she whispered affectionately. At that exact moment, several black SUVs stopped outside the hotel entrance. Guests turned curiously. A tall man stepped out. Ethan Reed. Now one of the wealthiest entrepreneurs in California, Ethan had arrived for a charity luncheon organized by several business leaders. Wearing a navy blue suit, he walked confidently through the lobby. Then he froze. His heart nearly stopped. Across the restaurant, standing only a few feet away, was Sophia, his ex-wife, and she was pregnant. Ethan blinked several times. Surely his eyes were playing tricks on him. But no, it was really her, the woman he once loved, the woman he had lost, and she looked exhausted. For several seconds he couldn't move. Memories flooded his mind. Their wedding, their first apartment, their dreams, their laughter. Everything he thought he had buried suddenly came rushing back. Without realizing it, he slowly walked toward her. Sophia noticed him immediately. Her body stiffened. Of all the people she expected to see that day, Ethan was the last. "Ethan," she whispered softly. He smiled nervously. "Sophia." The sound of her name coming from his lips after 6 years felt strangely familiar and painful. "How are you?" he asked quietly. Sophia almost laughed. How could she possibly explain the sleepless nights, the loneliness, the fear, the endless struggle? Instead, she simply answered, "I'm surviving." Something inside Ethan broke. He remembered how she used to say, "I'm happy," not "I'm surviving." A manager called Sophia from another table. She excused herself. Before leaving, Ethan asked softly, "Can we talk after your shift?" Sophia hesitated. Old wounds don't heal easily. Yet after several moments, she nodded. "My shift ends at 4. Ethan smiled gently. I'll wait. At exactly 4 o'clock, Sophia stepped outside into the warm afternoon sun. To her surprise, Ethan was still there. He hadn't left. They decided to sit inside a small bakery nearby. The atmosphere was peaceful. Fresh bread, coffee aroma, sunlight shining through the windows. For the first time in years, they sat face to face. Neither knew where to begin. Finally, Ethan spoke. Why did you disappear? Sophia lowered her eyes. You never came looking for me. The answer hit him harder than any accusation because she was right. After the divorce, he had buried himself in work. Success became his escape. He thought she had moved on, and maybe she thought the same about him. For the next 2 hours, they talked honestly, really honestly. Sophia told him about changing jobs, about struggling with rent, about being abandoned while pregnant, about learning how to survive alone. She didn't seek pity, she simply told the truth. And Ethan listened. With every word, guilt grew heavier inside him. When the conversation turned toward the baby, Sophia gently rubbed her stomach. I'm excited, she admitted, but I'm scared too. For the first time that day, Ethan saw beyond her brave smile. He saw a woman carrying an enormous burden all by herself, and something changed inside him. He couldn't erase the past, but perhaps he could become a better man. The next morning, Sophia received a simple text. Hope you slept well. Take care of yourself. Nothing more. No pressure. No expectations. Just kindness. Weeks passed. Ethan occasionally checked on her. He drove her to doctor's appointments, helped fix broken cabinets, brought groceries, installed a new crib, and never once asked for anything in return. Sophia was confused. This wasn't the man she divorced. This man listened. This man noticed when she was tired. This man remembered her favorite tea. Little by little, the walls around her heart began to crack. One sunny afternoon, while arranging baby clothes together, Sophia finally asked, "Why are you doing all this?" Ethan became silent. Then he looked straight into her eyes. Because losing you was the greatest regret of my life. Tears filled Sophia's eyes. For years, she had dreamed of hearing those words, and now she didn't know what to say. I don't expect forgiveness, Ethan continued, and I'm not asking for another chance. He paused. I just want you to know that if I could go back in time, I would choose you all over again. Sophia couldn't stop the tears because the man standing before her wasn't the same man she divorced. Success had made him rich, but regret had made him wiser. And for the first time in many years, she allowed herself to believe that people really can change. As the baby kicked gently inside her stomach, both of them smiled, not because the past had disappeared, but because they were finally brave enough to face the future together, and neither of them knew that destiny still had one final surprise waiting for them, a surprise that would change everything forever.